Hey, I'm Bittu Ali, and I am the Product Manager Paddlesports for Great Outdoor Provision Company. And I have with me here today Jim Marsh, who is the founder and owner of Swell Watercraft. This is a brand that we picked up. We unloaded our first shipment, and I was very intrigued with these kayaks when I first learned about them. And Jim is here to give you a little bit of a background on the company. So Jim, why don't you just explain a history of how you came to be and what makes your boat unique and special.
Thanks, Bittu. I appreciate it very much. And how did we become the world's smallest manufacturing kayak brand with our one rotational molding oven in Iowa, our small setup, kind of a mom and pop shop for making kayaks. Really stoked to be working with Great Outdoor Provision Company. Obviously the best place to be in this part of the world.
Thank you. We are very much honored to represent your brand, and there's a lot of unique features with Swell Watercraft, and I was wondering if maybe you could point out basically what's different about these sit-on tops versus every other sit-on top that's on the market. What's unique about your
Sure. In a word, lower. Okay, so we've lowered the paddler into the cockpit about 3.5 inches deeper than any other sit-on-top kayak. So sit-on-top kayaks have a system with scupper holes where water comes into the cockpit and drains out. With this boat, your feet are on the bottom of the boat, more like a cockpit kayak, like a sit inside, but we've got a patented drainage valve system on the boat that you can punch down, speed up, drop, or get any water out of the boat that happens to come in and drain it out on your own. So what do you get with lower? With lower, we can give you speed, comfort, and stability at the exact same time. How do we do that? Well, if you're lower down into the cockpit, you can make the boat less wide, so you get that speed out there. You're lower down in, and now all of a sudden you don't have your legs straight out in front of you, which can lead to a really bad lower back. You got bad things. So the comfort comes in. And then the lower center of gravity is obviously going to lead to greater stability. So here we are with a sit-on top that's 14 feet wide for this one, 25.5 inches wide, but it's faster, incredibly stable, and actually more comfortable than any other sit-on top one.
Let me make sure that I'm tracking with you here. So you have a scupper drainage system right there, but basically, in my mind, it kind of works like a Venturi valve, where it's as the faster you go, the faster the water drains out at the boat, and so that allows you to fill the boat so that you're actually sitting below the water.
Correct.
Yeah, so you're sitting below, and whereas every other sit-on top, your butt is above the water line so that you stay dry.
Right.
And that means that you have to build the boat wide because your center of gravity's high. So with this boat, because you're able to get the paddler seated below the water line, you can make a narrow boat, which is an efficient boat, it's a fast boat. And to drain, you just paddle full.
Correct.
And the faster you paddle, the faster it drains.
Correct. Well, it does work with the Venturi effect, and what you see is the valves in the upward position. What you do is just push them down an inch, and all of a sudden there's little holes exposed underneath the boat, so that when you speed up to a good bit of speed, so about 4.5 knots, 4 to 4.5 knots, the Venturi effect will kick in. What looks like a ping pong ball in the valve will drop down, and the water will start sucking out of the back of the boat.
Yeah, so I had an opportunity to try these boats out on the water, and I was really impressed with how stable and how fast that boat was. And I deliberately dumped water into the cockpit, and just to see how it worked, and it was pretty cool. I mean, I wasn't able to get all of the water out. There's always a little bit small amount in there, but you can drop the scupper, lock it kind of, and keep any water from coming in. But it was really neat to see the water just flow out of the
Yep. Essentially, that's what happens. And you're right. The last tiny bit, the last little half-inch of water is basically probably not going to come out unless you're Greg Barton or someone on the Olympic squad. You can really get that speed up to do that.
Yeah, very much felt like a sea kayak or a touring kayak to me in a sit-on-top package. So I think this is going to be very appealing to a lot of folks that don't necessarily want to learn the just the overhead of doing a re-entry or a paddle float rescue or learning how to roll the kayak and things like that. You get all the performance in a traditional touring kayak with really none of the disadvantages from what I can see. So I think you have an amazing product, and we are super stoked to be carrying your load.